today we're going to make chocolate chip pancakes. This is your first recipe you're going to do, so we're going to go over some equipment. We're going to go over how to measure, just to make sure that you're going to be successful in lab tomorrow when you create the chocolate chip pancakes. So you're going to have a recipe that you're going to follow along with. So we're going to start with day one. You will measure out your dry ingredients to make your lives a lot easier the next day, since we only have 42 minutes in lab. So today we're going to skip to day two directions, and you're going to start with your dry ingredients first. So you have a cup and a half of flour. Remember, with flour you don't want to compact it, so you want to make sure you fluff the flour into your dry measuring cups, and then use a leveler or straight edge spatula to make sure it's nice and precise. So you add in your cup and a half of flour, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, which makes your product rise, so you have nice and fluffy pancakes. A tablespoon of sugar to add a little sweetness to the batter, and a teaspoon of salt to enhance all of the flavors. To mix your dry ingredients together, use a whisk. You only need to whisk about, 6 to 8 times, just to make sure everything is incorporated together, like so. All right. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to measure out your wet ingredients. So you start with 1 cup of flour, or 1 cup of milk, using a liquid measuring cup. You're going to have 1 egg. You always whisk your egg into a custard cup first, so you crack it to make sure you don't have any shells to go into your batter. So you're going to add your egg. I like to add everything right into the measuring cup, so all your wet ingredients are together. So 1 egg, 3 tablespoons of melted butter. For butter to melt it, you take a custard cup, put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds to make sure that it's fully melted. Any more than that, you got to be careful because the butter might overheat and explode in the microwave. So you add your butter. Now you're going to use your whisk again, and you're just going to whisk in your milk, butter, and egg until it's incorporated together. All right, so now you have your dry ingredients and you have your wet ingredients. Your next step on your recipe tells you to make a hole, or it tells you to make a well. A well is going to be a hole in the center of your dry ingredients. The reason why you make a well is so that you don't overmix the batter, and it makes sure that your pancakes are nice and fluffy. So I've simply just pushed the dry ingredients to the side. What I'm going to do now before I add my wet ingredients is I'm going to turn on my burners for my griddle. Griddle is a flat pan that is used to cook large amounts of ingredients. If you don't have a griddle at home, you can use a saute pan. You will just only do about 1 or 2 pancakes at a time. So you're going to do medium heat. Since this is a gas burner, I'm going to do low, but on your electric burners, you are going to do between 5 and 6. Okay, then you're going to spray your griddle with canola oil or vegetable oil. You don't want to use butter. Butter actually has a lower smoking point, meaning that it burns. So you spray just enough to prevent your batter from sticking. And butter you don't want to do just because, again, it's going to burn. So canola oil or vegetable oil works the best. All right, we are moving along. We are on step number 3 or 4. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your wet ingredients and you're going to add it to your dry ingredients in the well that you have made. So the reason why you make a well is to make sure that you don't overmix your batter. So you notice the wet ingredients is staying kind of in like a little circle. So what you're going to do now, you're going to use a wooden spoon to make sure you don't overmix the batter, and you're just going to slowly mix in your dry ingredients, making sure that you are incorporating everything together. Now, the batter is going to be lumpy. That's okay. If you tend to mix it pretty vigorously, what happens is then you're not going to have those fluffy pancakes. Okay, so you combine it just until everything is combined. Don't use a whisk, use a wooden spoon. Scrape the sides. You want to make sure all the eggs incorporated. And you're ready to go. Like so. So you see how it's kind of lumpy? That's okay. Alright, so what you're going to do now is you're going to use either a liquid measuring cup or your 1/3 of a cup to help pour the batter onto your griddle. Okay, you're going to do either medium-sized pancakes or you can do small little silver dollar pancakes. So I'm going to do little silver dollar pancakes. So it's easier for you, you can bring your batter over to where you're working. Okay, if you run your hand kind of over the griddle, just ensure that it's hot. If you feel some heat, then you're ready to go. You're on a hot griddle. So remember that when you put your batter down, it's going to expand. So I'm going to do little silver dollar pancakes. So I'm going to do nice and small. Okay, if you do larger pancakes, you can get about 12, so that's about 2 per person. Okay, but you are not allowed to do one large big pancake because it's very, very, very difficult for you to flip it and for it to fully cook. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to start looking at your pancakes that are cooking. And what's going to happen is you're eventually going to see some bubbles that are going to start to form. Your first batch is always going to take the longest because your pan is still heating up. When you do your second batch, it'll go a little bit quicker. Now, you don't add the chocolate chips into the batter because what happens is the chocolate chips sink to the bottom and they actually burn, which we don't want. So you let your pancakes start to cook and you'll notice there's bubbles that are start to form, and once it starts to bubble, you can sprinkle on your chocolate chips. Okay, a little bit goes a long way. You could add blueberries, you could do apples. This is where you could kind of change it up. Okay, so what this is hopefully that they will sink down just a little bit and then they'll go right in the middle of your pancake. Okay, I also like using little mini chocolate morsels because I think they work a little bit better. So you can see the bubbles are starting to form. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to use a turner, okay? A turner is what's used to flip your ingredients. So what you want to do is kind of slide your turner underneath your pancake, and if you can notice here, want to zoom in just a little bit? Not that golden brown yet, so it's going to take a little bit longer. Okay, so turner is the tool you're going to want to use. The smaller the pancakes, the more you'll get out of them. You can do a little bit larger, but you don't want to do too much where they spread on top of each other. Alright, so nice and golden brown. So I'm going to grab my pancake and I'm going to flip it, and you want that nice golden brown color. Okay, you will flip all of your pancakes, making sure it's nice and golden brown on the other side as well. And then when you're done, you put them on a plate, and then you can start your second batch. Just remember that your second batch is going to cook a lot quicker. And that's it. That's how you make chocolate chip pancakes. So tomorrow you guys will do this in lab.